Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video I have the ultimate fire training point guide for y'all. Now I made the storm one a couple of months ago and y'all seem to really like that, and I decided to take the time to actually make the fire one in the video today. So in case you're a new viewer or you're unaware of this series, essentially what I do is I go through the school, in this case is fire, and I help you guys pick what to spend your training points on, whether it's, PvP, PvE, or raids. And keep in mind too, right, some of these things are subject to change with time when the meta shifts and whatnot. The only thing that stays really concrete and the same is like the PvE. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into things right away here. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to train for PvP is going to be Dark Surge. Now you can get Dark Surge at the Arcanum at the Shadow Teacher here. This card is insanely overpowered in PvP, so for 0 pips and just 1 shad, you essentially gain 4 pips. And keep in mind, when you cast the spell, you're gaining a pip the next turn, so you're pretty much guaranteed like 8 pips. For example, let's say you do a max pip judgment on a balance, the next round you'll be at 2 pips with a single power pip, right? And then if you click Dark Surge, you'll gain 4 pips, and then the next turn you'll have 8 pips. So it's just an insane tempo swing, and at least in PvP, a lot of games and matchups boil down to whoever pulls the Dark Surge, because in some instances, if one person goes for the Dark Surge and the other one doesn't, you can fall behind quite a bit, sit on shads, or just not keep up with the pace and tempo of the game. I would say Dark Surge is a must-have for every school in general in PvP, and it's also really good in, advanced content as well, and could be okay in some cases in PvE. So the next thing we're going to want to do is go across the hall here and go into the Astral Trainer. Now, this guy is going to give us our enchantments for the Sun School, and also our auras. So obviously in PvE you're gonna want enchants, right? You have to start from the bottom, which is strong, and then train giant, and then so on all the way up until you can get epic. As of right now, epic is the best enchant in the game. Some other things you're gonna want to pick up here is gonna be stuff like sharpen blade for blade stacking, or potent trap as well for stacking feints in PvE. If you're on a resist school, so basically anything that's not storm or fire, at least in PvP, you're gonna want to pick up brace and stabilize as well. And for PvE players, you're going to want to get Frenzy. If you are a PvP player, generally I would advise you not to actually train the main deck of your school. So for example, we're on a fire today. I don't recommend training Furnace and putting it in main deck. I used to do this back in the day. A very newbie of a mistake, and the reason you want to put this in side deck and not main deck in PvP simply is because you will pull it a lot easier, and you can pack more than 4. Not to mention right now we're in like an aura ping pong meta. A lot of the times, especially in like a fire mirror, if you deck fill your auras, you're probably going to lose that game. So TLDR, in PvE, you don't really need to train these because Frenzy is just better, and in PvP, it's better to go inside because you can pack more than 4 copies, and you can also pull it on demand, and it's important in the meta. Okay, and the last things we're going to need to get here are negative auras, so that's stuff like Attenuate and Starfall. Now, Attenuate is the best aura in the game right now, at least, and Starfall is like a, close second, maybe third best aura. Now, you don't need to run max negative auras on every school. Some schools benefit more from it than others. So for example, on a fire, you're not going to want to run Attenuate and Starfall. You're going to want to run Attenuate and the 1 pip aura, which I'll get into that in a little later on in the video here. But if you're on a school like Balance, you're probably going to want to run Starfall and Attenuate. So for the sake of this video here, I would recommend just getting Attenuate and the other stuff we discussed in this section here. Okay, so next up we are going to head to Salnopolis for the weaving and whatnot. So in case you are unaware, on a fire, you are going to want to go into Storm for your weaving. There's a couple of reasons for this. One of the most important reasons is for the dual blade. You can essentially get a 45 fire blade and a 55 if you sharpen enchant this. So really good for advanced content, really good for PvE as well, and it's kind of niche in PvP. Secondly, there's no damage per pip deficit, so essentially on a fire, if you go into storm, you actually don't need to get maximum storm damage to hit your stat caps. But if you go into any other school that's not storm on your fire, you're actually going to lose quite a lot of damage. Also, another reason why storm weaving is so good on a fire essentially is because the meta is so hot and dot centric, and storm counters hot and dot, right? And the third thing as well is healing. Fire synergizes with healing, which is also part of Storm's identity. So you just kind of get the whole package. You know, you're countering, you know, both of the meta effects. And the third effect, which is healing, you have some nice synergy there with. And if that wasn't enough, you also have more things here. You get an amazing 1 pip aura right here. So this is your 8 trap auras or negative auras. You want to use this one when you have more pips, right? You don't want to use this card when you have no pips. Use the attenuate to build the pips, and then once you actually have the pips, use the 1 pip one to preserve the pips and create more pressure. And this one is really nice because obviously it's a bigger buff, but you can hit with storm or fire and do a lot of damage with it. And we are not done yet. The last thing we have here is one of the best fusion spells in the game. This is easily a top 5 fusion spell in the game right now, and it's Lightning Dragon. So you essentially fuse a Triton and a Fire Dragon and make a heal clear and an overtime, and it's just a really big hit. Like, this is like almost a tier 5 Triton, but like on a fire, and it's a heal counter. Absolutely insane. Also really awesome card. And Fire Dragon and Triton are also meta cards, so you might as well just pick it up. It's essentially a free fusion that is amazing. Next up, we are going to head over to Niles and train Elemental Blade and Elemental Trap. These are just good for both PvE, raids, and PvP. You don't really need to learn any of these weaknesses because fire doesn't synergize that well with them. The Storm Dual School technically does, yes, but like you just don't get the chance to do that right now. Alright, next up we're going to head back to Ravenwood. Now, in Ravenwood, you actually don't really need a lot of spells, unlike the video we made before with the Storm one. And that essentially is because, well, a lot of Fire's main deck is just fire spells. Like, you get that for free. You don't need training points. And it's really nice because there are things you could put in main deck, but you could also just throw it inside deck like most people do. Like in Pair, you could train that at the Ice School, or Leviathan, you could put that in main deck if you want and spend training points on that if you want, but it's just better inside. Same thing with like Purge and Reshuffle. So really all we have left here is going to be Triton. Now, the reason you're going to want this in main deck and not side is 2 reasons. One, the fusion, like we talked about before, an amazing fusion, right? Just a lot of damage. This can be reshuffled as well for extra heal counter copies. Just solid card. And secondly, there are still a lot of Jades around to this day, so you're going to want to pack max main deck heal counters and our shuffle. This will essentially make it so you'll reshuffle all your heal counters back. So in theory, you could kill them and out kind of copy limit their heals with all your reshuffles and heal counters. And the real cool thing about having a fusion spell is if you fuse like 2 Lightning Dragons in your first reshuffle, once you reshuffle, you'll get like 6 counters back, like the 4 Tritons and the 2 Lightning Dragons. So you'll actually get more heal counters back on the second reshuffle for Jades, which is really good. If Jading wasn't a thing, you wouldn't really have to play this way, but unfortunately, it is still in the game, and the devs are working on implementing a heal cap in the future here. I imagine we'll see that probably in like the fall update. And yeah, that's pretty much everything for the video today, y'all. Fire is one of the more basic schools compared to, you know, some other ones we might see in this series. Even just looking at the Storm one and comparing it to this one, there's a lot more things you need to get on the Storm compared to the Fire. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned something new. Let me know what school you want to see next in the series down there in the comments below. And be sure to leave a like and sub if you made it this far. If not, that's okay. I appreciate it for you guys watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.